Someone is moving you right now, not a stranger, someone you trust. You didn't feel it happen. That's the mechanism. Manipulation doesn't announce itself. It doesn't walk through the front door. It comes as warmth, as agreement, as a feeling that you are finally understood. And by the time you recognize it, you have already agreed. Robert Cialdini spent decades documenting the exact levers used to move human beings without their knowledge. He didn't find monsters. He found ordinary social instincts, weaponized. Your instinct toward reciprocity, your hunger for approval, your fear of being the one person who doesn't belong. Those aren't weaknesses. They are human. But they are also the door. This video does not tell you how to manipulate others. That is not the exit. The exit is knowing exactly how your own mind cooperates with the people trying to move it. That knowledge is a wall. And walls don't negotiate. Let's begin where the manipulation actually starts. Not with the other person, with you. Your brain is not designed for truth. It is designed for survival. And survival, 1,000,000 years ago, meant staying inside the group at almost any cost. That wiring is still running today inside you. When someone triggers your need to belong, your rational mind steps aside. It doesn't fight, it defers. This is not a character flaw. It is a feature of being human. But it is your first vulnerability. The second vulnerability is something Carl Jung named with uncomfortable precision. He called it the persona, the mask you wear to be acceptable, the version of you designed to be approved of. The persona is not dishonesty, it is social lubrication, but it has a cost. The person who needs to be seen a certain way can be steered by threatening that image. Someone says, "I thought you were braver than that." And suddenly you are doing something you never intended to do. Your persona was weaponized. You did the work for them. There are 6 entry points every manipulator uses, not 5, not 7, 6. Reciprocity, scarcity, authority, consistency, social proof, and liking. You already know what these words mean. What you don't know is how precisely they are being used on you today. Reciprocity first. Someone gives you something. Now you owe them. You didn't agree to this. It doesn't matter. The feeling of debt is automatic. Your brain calculates it without asking permission. The defense against reciprocity is not ingratitude, it is categorization. Ask yourself, was this gift given freely or was it an investment in my compliance? The answer changes everything. Scarcity next. This offer ends tonight. Your brain hears, act now or lose forever. Urgency is a cage, and you walk into it willingly every time. The Stoic Marcus Aurelius had a word for this. He called it the impression, the raw hit of sensation before your reason engages. He said, suspend the impression, do not act on it, examine it first. That one move, pause, is the single most powerful anti-manipulation tool ever articulated. Not thinking harder, not arguing back, just do not move yet. Authority is the third lever. Someone signals expertise, status, credentials, and your deference instinct activates. Stanley Milgram showed us in 1961 what happens when authority speaks. People do terrible things, not because they are evil, because the authority signal switched off their personal judgment. The uniform did more than the argument. Your defense. Ask what their authority actually means for this specific question. Status in one domain is not wisdom in all of them. Consistency is the fourth lever, and it is the most personal one because it uses your own past against you. You said yes once, so now you must say yes again, because to say no is to be inconsistent, and inconsistency feels like weakness. This is the foot in the door technique. It is as old as persuasion itself. The defense, your past self did not sign a contract you are allowed to update. Changing your mind when you have new information is not weakness. It is the precise definition of intelligence. Social proof. Fifth lever. Everyone else is doing it. Everyone else believes this. You are the only one who hasn't. The herd instinct doesn't feel like instinct. It feels like common sense. In 1951, Solomon Asch showed that people would claim a short line was longer than a long line, just because everyone else said so. They didn't lie. They genuinely started to doubt their own perception. The group rewrote their reality. Your defense against social proof is a single question. What is my own direct evidence? Not what they told you, not what the group decided. What have you actually seen? The sixth lever is liking. And it is the most insidious because it feels like connection, like chemistry, like fate. You say yes to people you like. You give them the benefit of the doubt. You overlook what you should examine. Charm is a skill, not evidence of character. The people who have moved you most against your interests were almost certainly people you liked. Sit with that for a moment. Now, you know the 6 entry points. Knowing them is not enough. Knowledge without architecture is just anxiety. You need a system, a stoic firewall, a set of internal rules that run before your instincts do. The Stoics built their philosophy around one core distinction: what is in your control and what is not. What someone offers you is not in your control. How you respond is. What someone thinks of you is not in your control. Whether you let it govern your decisions is. This is not detachment. This is not coldness. This is sovereignty. Epictetus, a man born into slavery who had nothing, built the most radical internal freedom in the ancient world. He said, "Men are disturbed not by things but by their opinions of things." The manipulation is always about the opinion. Every manipulation in history has worked through opinion, not fact. Opinion about what you might lose, what you might become, what others will think. Change the opinion and the manipulation has no fuel. Here is the first concrete practice. Name the lever when you feel it. Out loud if you can, in your head if you must. This is a scarcity trigger. This is an authority signal. Name it. Naming diffuses. The prefrontal cortex engages. The limbic alarm quiets. This is not just philosophy. Neuroscientist Matthew Lieberman's research showed that labeling an emotion reduces its intensity by over 30%. 30%. Just from saying the word. The second practice, build a response delay, not a hesitation, a deliberate structural pause before any commitment. I'll give you my answer tomorrow. 4 words. They collapse every urgency trap ever designed. If the offer disappears overnight, it was a pressure tactic, not a real offer. The delay does not cost you anything real. Now, let's talk about the emotional door. Because most manipulation does not enter through logic. It enters through your emotions, your fear of loss, your craving for admiration, your loneliness. Carl Jung warned us, whatever is unconscious in you will be used against you, not by malice, by simple opportunism. The unexamined need is the lever. Your need for approval, your need to be perceived as generous, your need to be loved. These are not shameful. They are human, but they must be owned consciously by you before anyone else names them. This is Jungian shadow work in its most practical application. Name your need, own your wound, because a lever you have already identified cannot be pulled by surprise. The third practice, define your values before any interaction, not after, before. Know what you will not do regardless of pressure. Write it down. That is your constitution. A person with a clear constitution cannot be argued out of their own values. There is nothing to negotiate. This brings us to the identity lock, the deepest and least understood defense against manipulation. Most manipulation targets your identity. It tries to define you, to tell you who you are, so it can then tell you what that person would do. A real leader would make this call. Someone who truly cares would agree. I thought you were different from other people. Each of those sentences is an identity claim being handed to you. Reject the claim. Return the item. You are the author of your identity, not its audience. Nietzsche called it will to power, not dominance over others, but the capacity to legislate your own values. You do not need others to validate what you value. The moment you do, you hand them the remote. The identity lock works like this. Before any high-stakes interaction, state your values internally, not as affirmations, as facts. I am someone who does not commit under pressure. That sentence becomes your internal constitution in the moment. Now, manipulation often wears a second face. It wears the face of love. Emotional manipulation inside relationships is the most difficult to see because it comes wrapped in genuine connection. Guilt tripping, emotional withdrawal, silent treatment, gaslighting, these are not passion. They are mechanisms. The defense, ask whether you are being given information or given pain. Information says, this is what I need. Pain says, hurt until you comply. Love is not leverage. Anyone who uses your love as a tool to move you does not love you back. That sentence will cost you something to believe. Believe it anyway. The fourth practice: map your emotional triggers before others find them. Anger, shame, fear, the need for approval. Know which of your emotions makes you act without thinking. That is the one being targeted. Shame is the most powerful lever. It is the only emotion that turns off reasoning almost completely. If someone can make you feel ashamed, they can make you do almost anything to stop that feeling. The defense: understand that shame is almost never accurate. It is a social signal, not a moral verdict. Someone made you feel it. That is information about their intent, not about your worth. You are now close to the final piece, but this is where most people stop. They learn the theory and they walk away feeling prepared. They are not. The final and most important practice is not a technique, it is a posture, a permanent orientation toward your own interiority. Daily self-examination. The Stoics called it the evening review, not self-criticism, self-accounting. Where did I feel pressure today? Where did I comply when I didn't want to? What lever was pulled? Over time, this builds a map of your own psychology that no one outside you possesses. That asymmetry is power. Becoming impossible to manipulate is not a destination. It is a daily practice, a choice made each morning to know yourself better than anyone trying to use you. Not paranoia, clarity, not coldness, precision, not armor, architecture. If this moved something in you, stay. There is more here. Subscribe and come back when you are ready to go deeper.